Are you recording this, Olivia?
I think you are.
Oh, good morning, everybody. Sorry about that. She caught me mid-yawn.
This is morning announcements.
Yeah, our morning announcements. Today is,
March 12th.
it's a Friday, right? So on Fridays, we have our Friday feature interview. Who did you interview this week, Olivia?
Well, this week I interviewed my dad.
What, your dad? Joe Madding? I've heard of him before. Why did you want to interview your dad?
Well, it might be a little ironic, but I actually like video games, and he works for a video game company that's actually coming out with their own game soon.
Whoa, cool. I can't wait to watch.
Hello, Acosta students, and this is me, Olivia Madding, interviewing my dad, Joseph Madding, who works for the Sandbox games. First of all, please state your name and where you live.
Sure, my name is Joseph Madding, and I live right here in Grayland, Washington.
Before I start asking you questions about your job, I'd like the Acosta students to know a little bit more about you, so we're going to ask some background questions.
Okay.
First of all, where did you grow up?
Well, I was born in Anchorage, Alaska, and I moved here at 2 years old, and I have lived here ever since for over 30 years, right here in Grays Harbor.
Do you have any siblings?
I have 3 siblings, 3 sisters. One is much younger than I am, and the other 2 are about my age, a little older.
Do you have any funny or embarrassing stories about something that happened to you in elementary school?
Oh, so many. Let's see. I think one of the most embarrassing, I suppose, when I was in 6th grade, I thought it would be really funny to jump into this puddle at my elementary school. But I did not know when I was going to jump into the puddle that it was a puddle for like a sewer or manhole cover that was sealed. So it was actually really deep. And when I jumped into the puddle, I went down to about halfway up to my knee in water and then splashed that all over me. I got in a considerable amount of trouble. But that was pretty embarrassing once I had realized that I was soaked in water. I mean, you expect to be a little wet, but that was pretty bad.
When you were younger, what did you want to be?
I guess when I was really young, I wanted to be a firefighter. Once I got to about 8 years old, I wanted to be an architect. I've always liked the way that you draw up your plans in architecture. And as I got a bit older, I explored a lot of things, but I really found that I like to talk, which if you know Olivia, that may surprise you. But you know, so it's always been a passion of mine to do things that involve socializing as a job now. But yeah.
What high school did you go to?
I went to 2 high schools in our area. For most of my high school time, I went to Hoquiam High School, and then I went to Aberdeen High School for my senior year.
What was your favorite subject in school? Elementary, could be all the way up to college.
I think my favorite subject in school was something called computer-aided drafting. And this kind of goes in line with wanting to be an architect. You need to know how to use this software, but they do many cool things in computer-aided drafting. The very first project we had, I had to make a 3D rubber duck. And it's a lot of fun to be able to kind of mold like clay using a computer.
Were you involved in any extracurricular activities during high school?
Yes, yeah. Most of the extracurricular activities I did had to do with civics or leadership kinds of things. I was put onto sort of like an honor roll for leadership, specifically where I was tasked with taking a group of those leaders to the community and doing outreach programs and things like that. But when I was in elementary school, I did something we used to call enrichment back then, where they would take us, because I took most of my school in Hoquiam, we would all leave our school that we were in and go to what was then known as Washington School. And all of the kids in my grade that were that did really well in one subject would go and take a whole day's worth of classes at a higher level. And that was really fun.
Where did you go to college?
I actually did not properly attend college. I took some college courses when I was still in high school. Excuse me, that's a loud truck. I know that that's reverbing because I have my mic sensitivity way up. I'm going to wait. I'm pretty sure you can still hear it.
Okay, do you want me to re-say the question?
Yes, please.
Okay. Where did you go to college?
Okay, I actually didn't properly attend college. I took a lot of college courses when I was still in high school, but ended up not completing it, jumping straight into the workplace, which I would not recommend. Honestly, it's very good to get at least a 2-year degree as soon as you can, because it gives you a big leg up that I did not have at the early portion of my working career. It probably took me about 10 years to make up for not taking 2 years worth of school after high school.
Okay. Tell us about your family. Are you married?
I am married. Some of you may know Mrs. Matting, who works at the school. That is my wife. We've been together for 10, 11 years. I am not doing the math in the short term, and she will be mad at me about this when she reads or listens to it later. But we have a daughter. She's 10. And she's very nice, but sometimes talks too much in class.
Why you gotta expose me like that?
You know.
Wait, 1 second. I look like a tomato again.
I don't know what you mean by that.
Oh, really? Oh, really? Okay. We are now going to move on to the job questions. So the first job question is, what is the Sandbox and what is your job?
Sure. So the Sandbox is a new game creation software platform that also is based on something called blockchain technology. And what that means is that you can use our tools to create a video game and create the characters in your video game, and then use blockchain technology to put a type of serial number on everything you create so that it becomes genuinely real, unique, and has a limited number that will ever exist. So if you made a really cool castle in Minecraft using our software, VoxEdit, you can put a serial number on, let's say, 200 of these castles, and you can give those castles away. And the first castle you ever made, number 1, you would be able to tell who has always and forever owned it, and that it is number 1 forever. So super cool. And what we do is similar to games like Minecraft or Roblox, in that people can create things and create games and then publish them for other people to come and play for free.
How long have you been doing your job?
I have worked for the Sandbox properly since August of 2020. But before that, I worked for them in a case-by-case basis since February of 2020.
What kind of background/training does somebody have to do to get a job like yours in programming or game designing?
Sure. So my primary job with the Sandbox, which I didn't detail before, is that I do marketing and community management for the Sandbox. However, as a game design platform, I have a lot of different experiences that help me prepare for this. And you can do many, many different kinds of jobs for a company like the Sandbox. One of the things that I have done is marketing for the Extreme Fun Center. So when I worked for the Extreme Fun Center, we made all the billboards for my team, and we had a small team of about 4 people that did this at any given time. We made all the billboards, we made the designs you see on the posters inside, everything you would see on the TVs, the little card sliders and that sort of thing. So I transitioned those skills into making things that I can post on Twitter for my company, or that we make for our Twitch streams, things like that. And then I also worked as an account executive for the radio in town, KXRO and KDUX and that group. So that helped me learn how to do proper social media management, which is the people who make posts on Twitter for companies, or who work with people on Facebook or through any other kind of social media, Snapchats, Instagrams, etc.
What are important skills people need to have to be successful in your job?
I think that the most important skill that you have to have in order to be successful in my job, and not just my job, but in my opinion, any, is to listen to the people that work with you and the people that buy from you. The most important thing you can do is that if you do something, like let's say I was to make a post and people were to say, I don't like that. If they give a reason why they don't like it, and that has a lot of positive reaction, you have to respond to that, right? You shouldn't just say, well, it doesn't matter what you think, right? Because that's the wrong way to approach any kind of business, any kind of job, or any kind of interaction in life. If somebody says they don't like something, I believe that you give them the respect of that. And if you want their attention, then you have to be willing to change. And we do that a lot in the Sandbox. We change all the time. And because we are a blockchain-based company, one of our main rules is we do something called DAO, D-A-O, and it essentially means that the people who own sand tokens for us, which is our cryptocurrency, get to tell us what to do every day. And they don't work with us, right? They just say, I need this to make my game great. And you say, excellent, I'll get you that. It'll be 3 months, right? So that's the most important skill to have in my job.
Do you use any kind of math or science during or just in general in your job or when you work?
Absolutely. Math every day in many different ways. You can actually see on this screen the stock exchange sort of work that this shows how people feel about my job. When it goes up, I'm doing good. If it's going down, I must be doing something wrong, right? So there's math there that I do every day. There's also something you call analytics in marketing, which is where, let's say I do make a post on Twitter, I can see which ones are most popular and why. I can also see how many new people have liked things, including the pages. So those analytics are super important to tell if the money you spend to get people to see your company is being spent well. So math all the time. And then science, yes, we do something called computer science, which other people would know as coding all the time. I don't have to do all that much coding, but I definitely know how, or need to know how to read it and give feedback on it when I see something is wrong. If I find there's an error on the website, if I know how to code or do computer science, I can tell them, hey, this is the solution to fix this. A user reported this error, and we can get it fixed very quickly. But if I just say there's a problem, then it's not as effective. So it's good to have math and computer science to do my job.
What is a basic structure of developing a game? I think that's what.
1 second.
Yes.
Oh, the basic structure of developing a game. For developing a game. What is the basic structure for developing a game?
Do you want me to re-say that?
Yes, please.
Okay. What is the basic structure for developing a game?
Sure, yeah. So the basic structure for developing a game When it comes to the Sandbox specifically, we have super easy tools to use for game development. We do all the hard work for you. If you today were to sign up for sandbox.game and start developing a game, you would be using something we call the Sandbox Game Maker, which is a super easy, like drop-down menus way of creating video games. And every Wednesday and Saturday, we teach people how to use this game maker on live streams, and we give feedback. I actually did one earlier today on Wednesday. I gave a user some feedback live on a live stream for about an hour. We went through their game. And the basic structure for developing their game is to always, at least with our tools, is to create a type of a quest, something for your people to do, and then ideally create a side quest so that you can do something that's just exploration and fun in their game, and then create some kinds of puzzles. We had a user that, as a basic structure, a user found out how to create teleportation using our tools, something that we, as the developer of the tool, didn't intentionally create, but they made teleportation. So one of the basic structures that I used was to ask them, how did you do that? Can you create a tutorial for it? And can I share that knowledge with the world so that everybody can know how to do it? So, yeah, we give constant feedback, and kind of as I mentioned earlier, it's important to always listen, always give feedback, and build and develop the community.
Thank you. What are some problems you might face while developing a game?
Sure, yeah. I think the most difficult thing about developing a game is the organizing how you're going to do things is very hard for most people. They get this cool idea in their head and they don't know how to get there because they just want the whole idea to be done right away. And so it's important that when you're developing a game that you list out kind of the ingredients to your game's recipe, right? The steps that you need to get there. If you want to create a game that has a big adventure quest with multiple steps in it, what are the steps? What kinds of words do you want to have as dialogue? Things like that. So you make your plan and then you can take little bites out of it, and don't think that you have to get it all done in one day. It can take weeks, or for some people months, to make these games. But when the games are done, they get thousands, hundreds of thousands of people playing them. So yeah, you definitely want to break it up into bites.
How hard is game development or design?
Well, with the game maker, super easy, really, super easy. I have people constantly who've never done it before, never even thought about making a game before. They will come onto a live stream on one day. They will see that we can make these functions happen super fast with the game maker. And then they'll say, I want to try that. How do I get started? I say, go download the game maker, give it a shot. It's free. It costs nothing to you to do. You can make your game and then share it with me, and we'll talk about how to make it better on the next live stream. And usually by 3 weeks worth of time at a couple of hours a week, people have learned how to make a really, an introductory level game, and they've had a lot of fun doing it. And they really enjoy being able to see it played back. And then they'll make little tweaks and changes, and they get better over time and have a lot of fun doing it. So it's quite easy, really, to use the tools. You just have to be willing to give it some practice, fail a bunch of times. It's okay to mess up, right?
What programming languages do I need to know to design a game?
With the Sandbox Game Maker, you don't need to know any programming languages. It's super cool in that, as I mentioned, you can drag a character onto the screen and then click the character and click a little drop-down menu and say, this is what that character does. Like if I dragged a wolf onto the screen, I could make the wolf a predator where it will go and find prey, and drag a bunny onto the screen. And the bunny will try to run away and the wolf will try to pursue, right? But you make this without having to know how to do the code to get the wolf to chase the bunny. You can just drop them on and click a few things. and the predator would try to attack your character if you made it so that your character could come in as well. If the character gets close, a little like symbol will pop up above the predator's head that says, "I'm hungry." And if the predator has recently eaten, it won't care that you're close. And it happens automatically without knowing how to code. So, but using the game maker tools over time, you can also learn drag and drop what we call visual coding. And that's not released yet, but it will be released over the next year, with the goal being that when you start with the Sandbox, you could start as a player, move to the game maker and do it the easy way, and then learn visual coding. And by the time you're done, know how to code in a programming language called Unity without ever taking a class. You just learn it by having fun and doing it organically.
Hey, that's pretty cool. Hey, Olivia, I got a question for you. What was it like to interview your dad? Did you feel any different interviewing your dad compared to the other people you've interviewed?
Well, it was definitely different sitting in the same room as him, but it was still fun.
Good. Well, I can't wait for next week when you continue your interview with your dad.
Well, everybody, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoy your weekend. Our emails are for comments, questions, suggestions, or pledge video submissions. And this is episode 166 of the news, so thank you for sticking with us.
Thank you. And even though you don't have school today, kids, remember, try to do your work and be a good kid. Do the right thing. See you on Monday. Bye.
Bye.